Hi, Josh Barker with Josh Barker Real Estate. Thank you for checking out our market update for the month of April 2025. Let's kick right into that sales report by looking at the sales report for Shasta County's multiple listing service. So last month, in the month of March, we had 177 properties that closed escrow. If you go back 1 year ago, there was a total of 191. So sales are off slightly, about 7% year over year. Again, we're not too surprised about this. If you go back about 3.5 years ago, we're down nearly 40%. So this smaller decrease of less than 10% certainly doesn't feel too much different year over year. Next thing to look at is just how many homes are pending. So at the end of the month, in the month of March, we had a total of 220 pending. Now that's up from the 191 the year before, that's obviously good to see. Next thing to look at is just the active inventory. Active inventory right now is sitting at approximately 698 single family units for sale. If you go back a year ago, it's approximately 557. So our inventories are up by roughly 25% year over year. Now buyers obviously are seeing that. They're excited about it because there's a few more options out there versus what we've seen in years past. Now, the last thing to look at is how many homes came to the market in the month of March. So if you go back to this last month, it was a total of 344. And that's up roughly 12% when last year was about 305. Again, buyers are happy right now. They're starting to see more options available in the housing market. So let's go ahead and get to some of the bigger numbers for a minute. The average sales price in the market currently is $403,000. If you go back a year ago, it was $386,000. So our average sales price is up by about 4.5%. And if you look at the average days on market right now, we're averaging about 104 days. If you go back a year ago, it was about 102, so not much of a change there. The next couple of topics that we've been asked by customers and clients is just around the interest rates, what's happening. So rates right now are averaging around 6.75%. If you were to go back and look where we were at last year, we were averaging almost as high as 8% at one point in the year, now being at 6.75 and most likely trending down is good news for a lot of the folks that are out there right now that are in the thought of purchasing over the next 6 months. Next thing to look at is just the rental market. Rental market is still continuing to hold pretty tight. That average 3-bedroom, 2-bath home with a 2-car garage built in the mid-90s is about $2,260 a month. Now our vacancy rates have increased a little bit. That means that there's roughly about 7% of the overall inventory of rentals is vacant. That's up a little bit from earlier this year, but that's sort of where we were sitting for the most part over last year. And then the last thing to look at is just foreclosures. These questions have been popping up from time to time about how many foreclosures are out there in the market. And if you were to go back a month ago, some of the reporting that we had was about 102 properties in some stage of foreclosure. I just looked at this yesterday prior to this report, and it actually had dropped 30%. We're sitting around 70 single family homes in some stage of foreclosure. And it's worth mentioning that the majority of those will never even hit the market. They'll either refinance their home, bring their existing loan current, or perhaps even liquidate their property altogether. So that there will be a very small fraction of those that will ever actually hit the foreclosure market. So in any case, if you have any other questions related to the real estate market here in Shasta County, just know we're always here to help. Thank you again for taking your time with us today. Have a great day.